God, thank you for everything. I invite you into my day. I pray that your presence would surround me. I give you my heart and ask you to do whatever you want to do with me, in me, through me, and for me. Please forgive me of my sins and make me more like you. I take authority and power over the enemy and declare that nothing formed against me will prosper this day. I ask for your angels to keep, guard, and protect myself and my family from every attack from the enemy. I plead the blood of Jesus over my life, and I reinforce the full and complete armor of God upon me. Thank you for hearing my prayer. In Jesus' name, amen. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, Susan Diamond Paints. So today it is February the 14th, so happy Valentine's Day. I am going to do a update for you as far as my 2025 reading goals, what I accomplished in January, and what I'm aiming for. So for my 2025 reading challenge, I do this on Goodreads. My books of the year will be 50. I'm pretty sure I'll go right by that and probably have to add, more if I want to on that challenge. I'm also still doing the Let's Turn Pages challenge. This is the group that I belong to, the 2025 Reading Challenge group, or the part of the discussions. Let me go back to the group home so I can tell you what the group, yes, the 2025 Reading Challenge. They have a different challenges that they have, and one of them is called the Let's Turn Pages Challenge. This challenge this year, I'm doing 10,000 pages again like I did last year. I'm pretty sure I'm going to surpass my 10,000 pages after I tell you what I did for January. And I also did download the app Storygraph on my phone, and it has where you can do challenge yourself for audiobooks, and I do listen to audiobooks. I've told you that before, that I listen to audiobooks, where I diamond paint and things, and that's just, I do that a lot when I'm doing recording videos, when I'm giving you guys the pops, the clicks, ASMR type videos for my diamond painting when I'm working on my custom, and I'm working on my custom because it's a 70 by 70, and the next custom I got is an 80 by 80, so I'll be probably doing that majority of the first half of the year. But at any rate, the total pages that I have for January were 4,032 pages. I did a series on author. 3 authors are for this. 4 authors. I'll take that back. 4 authors are for this January series. Total pages. So the first 2 books are by Tessa Cole, and her 3rd book doesn't come out until March for this series. So the first book is called Lies Within the Darkest Tower. It's a Desperate Disguise series. This is book 1. I'll just read you the synopsis of the book. So, no one can know the newest guard in the Black Tower is a woman. When my younger brother's name is called in the lottery for lifelong service in the most dangerous army in the kingdoms, I know my ruthless stepfather is responsible, and I must take his place. So, kind of like a Hunger Games type thing. It doesn't matter that I'm a woman and only men are allowed in the Black Tower. My cursed ability to sense when someone is going to die tells me my brother won't survive a fortnight, and I refuse to lose my only surviving family member. So I do the unthinkable. I secretly take on the spell that binds the lottery sacrifice to the Black Tower, cut my hair, and pretend to be my brother. All I have to do is keep quiet and avoid undue notice. But things go wrong from the start. I walk through the Fey Ring to the Black Tower at night, drawing deadly shadow monsters to me and barely escaping. My mistake earns me the wrath of every guardsman who makes it their mission to make my life miserable. As if that weren't enough, the 3 leaders of the Black Tower are beautiful Fey, men who are all enticing, as all the minstrels' tales say. They have far too much interest in me as the newest sacrifice. I can't let them know the truth. I have to keep up my desperate disguise until my brother can bring our stepfather to justice, or I'll have doomed us both. So it's a fantasy romance book with, of course, the heroine who, takes herself and disguises herself in the man's world. It's a reverse harem book. It's my first reverse harem book. So if you don't know what that is, it's, of course, the woman has men to choose from, as opposed to, like a harem book will be the man has women to choose from. So that's why they call it the reverse harem, just in case you didn't know. So that was the first book of, this series. And, I really like the fact that, she's a woman, she's having to go into the man's world or the fae's world, and she's, having to disguise herself. So the second book is called Stand Against the Rising Storm. And let me read that synopsis to you. So, a terrifying vision of deadly future. I've risked everything to save my brother and take his place in the Black Guard, and now my vision of his death has changed. I'll be the one who'll be murdered. I don't know when it will happen, but I'm magically bound to the Black Tower and can't leave. I also can't turn myself in until my brother escapes to the kingdom, or my sacrifice will be for nothing. Because once everyone knows I'm a woman, I'll be punished and imprisoned. My only hope is to survive the guard's grueling training and pray I'm strong enough to change my future. But that isn't easy. The other guardsmen are bigger and stronger than me and are determined to put me in my place. I have a growing attraction to the beautiful Fae leaders of the Black, the inanimate Lord Commander Ryder, the charming Lord Quill, and the alluring Talon. To complicate matters further, I find myself inexplicably drawn to the Fae Garden each night, where a mysterious fantasy man awakens a passion I never knew existed. Time is running out, and the stakes have never been higher. I must keep my identity a secret and become a warrior, because I've seen what happens if I fail. So, this is the second book. So now she's listing, of course, who the Fae that she's attracted to. Her other problem is, so she's a boy in the Black Tower training to be Black Guard, but at night she is projected into this, what they call the Midnight Garden. So that's where the Fae males trying to find their mate, and she's a woman that hasn't found her mate. So of course all the men or Faes want to mate with her. So that's kind of where the second book ends in a cliffhanger. And like I said, the third book won't come out until, I believe it's March. So the third book is called Whispers Within the Midnight Garden. And now it's shown the expected publication date will be April 2nd of this year. So that's where I am, with that series. So the next series is called Supernatural Curse. Book 1 is called Wolf of Fire, and this series is by Krista Street. And I have to say, I really liked her writing. There's another series that I read last year. I haven't finished the series, but I like her writing style and her story. So Wolf of Fire. When her twin sister goes missing, Tala hires the Shadow Zone's the most notorious dark hunter, a fiery hot werewolf with secrets that rival her own. Practically Perfect. That's the name of the magic shop which my witch twin and I own in Chicago's Supernatural Marketplace. In reality, things are not so perfect. Tessa is the face of our shop. She draws in the customers to buy our potions, brews, spells, and enchantments. And I'm the sensible sister moving boxes in the back. It works, sort of. We have a pretty good life until Tessa disappears. My instincts tell me my sister didn't leave by choice, but here's the problem. This isn't the first time she's flitted off, forcing me to bail her out of trouble. So the authorities think I'm crying wolf again. I have no choice but to venture to the black underbelly, part bar, part brothel, entirely dangerous, to hire the most notorious dark hunter in the Shadow Zone. The fire wolf has flames in his eyes and a body that makes my mind go places it shouldn't. I shouldn't want him. I shouldn't crave him. Although none of that matters when we discover the reason behind Tessa's abduction. Overnight, I become a pawn in a much larger game that I never wanted to play. So, wolf fire, werewolf, witch, romance, fantasy romance. You can kind of see where it's going. And I really enjoyed the dynamic between Tala and the shadow, the wolf, fire wolf is what we call him. We find out later what his name is, but that's further on down in the series. But that was the first book. Second book in the Supernatural Curse is called Bound of Blood. The fire wolf and I have found my adopted twin, but my life is hardly back to normal. Let's see, my hired hunter has decided that I'm his mate. My twin sister is blaming me for her abduction. A crazy and dangerous supernatural is now after my magic, and I'm somehow supposed to keep running practically perfect despite the disaster that is my life. I just can't win, especially when the crazy supernatural comes looking for me and my hired hunter goes into full-blown territorial werewolf mode. Did I mention that I haven't accepted his mating bond? Now it's getting real, especially when I learned that my hunter has kept a very dark secret from me, a secret that affects my very way of life. So that's book 2. Book 3, Cursed of Moon. I am going to kill my hunter. He's turned me into something that shouldn't be magically possible, so now I have this to deal with on top of everything else. Well, might as well make lemonade out of these freaking lemons. Yep, that's right, Mr. Broody Hunter. I'm going to take those newborn powers you just thrust upon me. Stop sitting on the sidelines. I'm done taking orders from others than you, and I'm done waiting for the supernatural forces to fix my problems. I'm going to solve the mystery that's been weaving itself around me far too long, especially when it becomes crystal clear that the key my nemesis has been seeking has been buried inside me all along. Now, supernatural forces. This is a group like police that govern all supernaturals, and we're talking, werewolves and demons and vampires and fae. I mean, just the whole lot. So that's kind of like the intro of what you get into the Supernatural Curse. And that's the second series that I read by this author, but the first one I actually completed. So last book is called Forged of Bone. We finally uncovered the depths of Jacob's plan, but that discovery came with consequences none of us expected. Despite the wolf's growls in my direction, Kalen, Fire Wolf, determined to prove his love, so the two of us delve into my family's long-buried past to discover the truth of who I really am. But things don't go as planned, and our struggles uncover an impossible choice. I can either stay on Earth and accept that my hunter and I will never be mated, or I can embrace my destiny and say goodbye to the only man that I've ever loved. And that's the last of that series, Forged of Bone, for that book. Now, because I like this series so much, I said, okay, when I was done with this, I read this all in January, y'all. I said, okay, I'm ready for her, the next series that she has that I would think I would like. So that one's called The Supernatural Community. And the first book in that series is called Magic and Light, and this, of course, is by Krista Street. A supernatural healer threatened by a deadly stalker, an alluring bodyguard she can't resist, and his secret that will shatter her entire world. People on the brink of death come to me for life. I touch them and my magic burns away their sickness. My gift is exhausting and painful and even dangerous, which means I never intentionally touch anyone and no one touches me. So dating, definitely not happening. All that changes when a cyber stalker threatens to burn me at the stake. I reluctantly hire a bodyguard, a 6'3" mountain of temptation named Logan Smith, literally at my fingertips at all times. Every fiber of my 21-year-old virgin body vibrates for him. But when I accidentally touch him, my gift doesn't activate. Nothing happens except a zing of desire. This is bad. My mother told me about potential mates, but I'm Logan's employer. And come on, just look at him. Those broad shoulders and that firm backside. He's got to have a girlfriend back home. But when the stalker crosses a line, Logan reveals a side of himself he kept hidden. He's not who he claimed to be, and his secret not only shatters my entire world, but threatens everything I once believed. Now, this Logan is a werewolf, and you'll find out about that in the first book for Magic and Light. She, on the other hand, is a supernatural healer who thinks she's the only supernatural in the world and finds out differently. She is part of a witch line. It's a women witch line is what she's part of. So that's the first book of this series. And like I said, I really like how she writes the dynamic between the female character and the dynamic between the male character. And they're fast reads because, this one was 250 pages. I mean, I'm reading this all on Kindle Unlimited, so I'll tell you how I got to this crazy mess. But anyway, so the second book is called Power in Darkness. Turns out I'm not the only supernatural in the world. My new werewolf boyfriend, Logan Smith, wants to introduce me to the supernatural community, a secret society of magical species that live in hiding in the human world. But my introduction doesn't go as planned. On the night before my arrival, a terrifying event bursts a new power inside me. It's cold, powerful, and worst of all, I lose my livelihood overnight since I can't touch anyone now without killing them. Now as I enter the community while terrified of hurting innocents, I learned that to stop the dark power, I must dig into my family's past to uncover the truth of who I really am. Thankfully, I have Logan to help me along the way. Not only is he sinfully delicious, but he's loyal, trustworthy, and committed to staying at my side. Or so I thought. So, now they're working out the kinks of, who they are, who Logan is, who she is, and, they're together. And then things start really rolling into the book of whether or not this couple is going to work out or not. Third book, Dragons and Fire. I'm kicking myself for being so trusting, but that trust led me to a whole new realm, a world I never knew existed. Now that I know what I truly am, I must learn to control my powers so I can return to my life as a supernatural healer. Thankfully, I have an interesting, if unusual, instructor to help me along the way. But focusing on my lessons proves challenging when a certain werewolf refuses to give me up. Now, with Logan waiting to claim me while I'm struggling to learn how to exist in the supernatural community, my life grows increasingly chaotic, but that's nothing compared to what's coming. Little do I know, a threat looms over the entire community, and I'm destined to play a huge role in the war to come. And again, as with, any kind of romantasy book where, there's a strong female character and a strong male character, there's dynamics, of course, between the two, and that's what, creates the story. So then the I think it's the last, no, it's not the last book in this one, I don't think. Or maybe, yeah, it is. Angel and Embers. The community's war is over, but the fight for my future has only just begun. I know what I want, and so does Logan, but wanting and wishing don't guarantee a happy ending. Still, I'm determined to give us a fighting chance in what feels like impossible circumstances. So I join Logan on his trip home, and my eyes are open to an entire world of werewolf hierarchy and politics that I didn't see coming. Now, with the entire pack convinced that I'm not the right pick for their future alpha, I have to prove my worth. But trying to do that creates consequences that not only affect me, but the entire werewolf world. I can only hope that Logan's and my love is strong enough to survive. Because if it's not, everything we've been working for will be over before it's begun. And that's the last one of this series. So the last book that I read, or I should say listened to. The rest I read because I read that on Kindle Unlimited, but the last book that I have is what I was listening to while I was diamond painting, is the Scarlett St. Clair's Hades and Persephone book series. A Touch of Darkness is the first one. So Persephone is the goddess of spring by title only. The truth is, since she was a little girl, flowers have shriveled at her touch. After moving to New Athens, she hopes to lead an unassuming life disguised as a mortal journalist. Hades, god of the dead, has built a gambling empire in the mortal world, and his favorite bets are rumored to be impossible. After a chance encounter with Hades, Persephone finds herself in contract with the god of the dead, and the terms are impossible. Persephone must create the life in the underworld or lose her freedom forever. The bet does more than expose Persephone's failure as a goddess, however, as she struggles to sow the seeds of her freedom. Love for the god of the dead grows, and it's forbidden. Like I said, I listened to this on audiobook. What drives, I think, a lot of these books for me, and what I've started to do is I'll be on Facebook, and you'll see, and I know you've seen these, especially if you read. There'll be like this picture, and then it will be like this, Faye, whatever, dude, long hair in a tub, what have you. And then you go and you're okay. So what I was doing is that every time I saw something that showed that, and I kind of looked at to see first if it was available on Kindle Unlimited, then I would share that post to my own Facebook page, my personal viewing, so no one else would see it. And that's how I'd keep up with what books I'd want to, read. So then what I started doing after that was, after trying to share one post to my Facebook page, to myself, a message came up with Facebook and said, this violates our community guidelines. I'm sharing a post from an author to my own personal Facebook page. Nobody else is going to see it. I don't know what community guidelines I'm violating if I'm the only person that's going to see it, whatever. So at that point, I said, okay, fine. I'll start going on Amazon and I'll follow the authors. So that's what I'm doing now, is I'm following the authors on Amazon. So then when I decide, when I get done with something, what do I want to read next, I can go say, okay, this is, where I am, what I want to read next. So that was my reading challenge. Those are the majority of the books. I have one other book that's on here. It's called The Warrior Priestess. I'm not going to give you a synopsis on that yet because I'm not sure if I'm going to pick up the next one in the series. And I'm a series person, so that's just kind of where we are. So January's total pages were 4,032. So I'm going to give you a little bit of February. February, I finished listening to Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. That's counted in my pages. That's also Storygraph is being counted into my audio book listens, because for the audio hours I want to do 365, so that's like an hour a day of an audio book. So it goes towards that goal. But on here on Goodreads, it goes towards my pages goal. So that was early this month. Last week, I think, when I finished Onyx Storm. Befuzzled by the end, and I'm not gonna, spoil that for anybody because I don't feel the need to spoil this for anybody. And all these books that I just read all the synopsis to you, you can read the synopsis yourself. I don't think it's, spoiling anything, because obviously, unless it's a series that's not finished, you're not gonna know what's going on anyway. So, but yeah, so that's the audiobook that I finished for February. I had a series that I read either in 22 or 23 that I didn't finish. I am finishing that series this month. I will give you the synopsis and all that jazz when February is over with, because I'll probably have this one finished also, and I may read some more of her books. The Krista Street, she does have other series. I kind of wanted to take a little break from her, and then I'll probably go back to her maybe in March and pick the other ones up that she has. So that's kind of what my reading goals and challenges look like for January and rolling into February. So 4,032 pages in January. My goal for the year is 10,000, so I almost hit halfway just in 1 month. I know February is going to be the same. It's going to kind of blow the number out of the water, but at least in this challenge, I can up my pages if I need to, and that's probably what I'll end up doing. And hopefully get some more audiobooks done, listen to. I'm reading the second book for the Persephone Hades book. I'm reading Hades' point of view, so that's what I want to do, is like read Persephone's point of view for the first book, and then go back and listen to his point of view, because they have those. She did write that. Scarlett St. Clair. So I'm just, listening to his point of view of the whole story that I just listened to, previously in Persephone's. world point of view. So I like books that are like that. I like being able to read or listen, whichever you want to call it, to each character's side of, their story and how they are. So that is an update for the books, and I got some little other updates for you that will probably happen later on. So I will talk to y'all again soon. Y'all have a good one. Bye.